The Chinese authorities sharply responded to the sanctions imposed for human rights violation in the Xinjiang Uyghur Autonomous Region. Beijing called this step of the European Union an interference in the internal affairs of China and took actions in response, write the Ministry of Foreign Affairs of the country. China has decided to impose sanctions against 10 European parliamentarians, scientists, and politicians, as well as against 4 European legal entities. The Chinese sanctions list included 5 members of European Parliament, a Dutch parliamentarian, a deputy from Belgium, a member of a Lithuanian Sejm, as well as German and Swedish scientists. These individuals and their family members are banned from entering mainland China, Hong Kong, and Macau. They, companies, and institutions associated with them will also be restricted from contact with China, the Foreign Ministry said. Other sanctions were imposed to the European Council's Political and Security Committee, the European Parliament's Human Rights Subcommittee, Berlin's Mercator Institute for China Studies, and the non-profit Alliance of Democracies Foundation of Denmark. China calls on the European Union to realize the seriousness of such actions, think about these actions and correct its mistakes. Stop lecturing on human rights, stop applying false double standards and interfering into internal affairs everywhere, and get off the wrong path. Otherwise, China will take further resolute actions, Beijing noted. Head of European diplomacy Joseph Borrell has already responded to the Chinese sanctions. He called China's actions unacceptable. These actions are regrettable and unacceptable. The European Union will not change its commitment to protecting human rights, he said at briefing in Brussels. The imposition of these sanctions was a response to the European Union's sanctions policy. On March 22nd, the European Union imposed restrictions on several officials in the Xinjiang Uyghur Autonomous Region. The reason was the persecution of Muslim Uyghurs who live in this region. The sanctions policy provides freezing the assets of the sub-sanctioned persons in the territory of European Union, as well as a ban on entry into the European Union. According to British Foreign Secretary Dominic Raab, the treatment of Uyghurs is the most massive retention of the ethnic and religious group since World War II. The diplomat added that the evidence of violations of minority rights is clear. Last September, it was reported that Chinese authorities had built around 400 camps for the so-called re-education of minorities, particularly Uyghurs, which they have been fighting for years. The Uyghurs are an indigenous people of East Turkestan, now living in China, particularly near the city of Xinjiang. According to the various sources, there are now about 10 million Uyghurs in China. For quite a long time, the ethnic group has been discriminated by the official authorities in order to assimilate them.